Go.
Good morning, YouTube. All right, we're gonna shoot an old school classic. We are making my mother's tuna noodle casserole with a little modern twist. It is rich, creamy, delicious, and over the top. Family favorite. You're gonna love it. All right, let's cook, y'all. We've got a family to feed.
Okay. Try to get this back. Don't let any kids.
All right, guys. You know what happens when you use the picking shopping service and you're not completely paying attention when they bring it to your car, is sometimes instead of getting a can of tuna, you get a can of tuna. So we are about to start every way I can come up with to fix canned tuna and make it taste like something you really want to eat. All right, so here we go. Brian, actually, I'm gonna get you to open this because that is the only opener that will work with a can that size. And I'm gonna come over here and start. All right, so what is that can? That's a 4-pound can, right? That's a lot of tuna. And the worst of it is that our tuna eaters, Lance and Noah, are at UT. So we're gonna have to be really creative with this. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is a tuna salad. Basic, simple, easy, anybody can do this. All right, I have 2 tablespoons, come on, you start focusing here. I have 2 tablespoons of dill pickle relish. All right, I understand that this is a controversial ingredient. Some of you folks want sweet pickle relish, and here's what I'm gonna tell you. Go ahead. If you need sweet pickle relish in your tuna salad, have it. It's your food. However, don't fuss at those of us who can't handle it. We don't want sweet pickles. Okay, thank you. Actually, can you get rid of this? Because I'm gonna weigh, there you go. Go make the cats happy. I'm gonna weigh out how much I'm using. All right, so here's the world's largest can of salmon. Not salmon, tuna. Okay, a couple of tablespoons is about half of a rib of celery, and I minced it up pretty small. Because when you stir tuna salad together, the tuna flakes end up being pretty little, right? So that's kind of what I think of when I'm making salads and stuff. All right, 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt. It's kosher salt, y'all. Not table salt. 1 teaspoon. What happened to my son? Where'd it go? 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Did I block it? Maybe. 1/2 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. 3 tablespoons of whatever that is. What is that? That's red onion minced. Kind of switch sometimes. Oh, you took me seriously. You really did make a cat happy. They do love it. All right, and 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. All right, so normally when I make tuna salad, I'll do this recipe. Oh, I've got one more ingredient I'm gonna add in just a minute. We're gonna talk about this tuna first. And Tony is who you hear in the background making all that noise. He's actually almost on the other side of the house. He's building 2 bathrooms for me. And not only that, in the middle of building bathrooms for me, I up and decided he had to rebuild half of an apartment building. Why? I don't know. That's not gonna work yet because I need to get rid of liquid. All right, so dealing with tuna. All right, you can get tuna several different ways. Some ways it's really freaking fantastic, and some ways it's like, I gotta eat this crap. All right, so most of the time you can buy what they call chunk light or chunk white tuna, right? I buy chunk light tuna. White is exactly what it sounds like. It's almost like you've got the light meat and the dark meat from chicken. Same general principle applies for tuna. Parts of the tuna are paler than other parts of the tuna after it's cooked. Now, you can also find it packed in water, which I get, or packed in oil, which is what my mother buys. I grew up on chunk white tuna packed in oil. As an adult, I buy chunk light tuna packed in water. Now, I buy a decent name brand tuna. It's not the best, it's not the worst. It's a good tuna. If you go to specialty shops, you can find something that is an absolute phenomenal canned tuna, often packed in oil. They usually come from Italy or France or Spain. Very incredible craft products, y'all. Amazing. If you have the opportunity to buy something like that, please try it. All right, let's see. How much do I have so far? Oh no, no! Brian, help! No, kitty, no! Help! Can you get giblet? He almost got it. You're bad. I'm gonna tell you the worst thing ever, y'all. Alright, so we already know I've got 2 flippin' mini cats, right? A couple days ago, heard this little baby out in the yard crying, crying, crying. Oh no. Sure enough, tiny baby kitten, way too little to be away from his mother, not quite 3 weeks old at my best guess, which by now is pretty flippin' educated. Okay, fine. I'm gonna rescue the kitten because I'm a big fat sucker. I can't help it. So then, last night, wait, here, you hold that. There you go. So we got baby formula, kitten formula, and okay, 12 ounces. This is about 2 cans. 2 cans this size. If you buy this size of can and drain the liquid, you're gonna have about 10 to 12 ounces. Okay, so this is 12 ounces of tuna that I drained. Okay. So I go and I buy baby bottles at Tractor Supply and kitten formula, and the kids and I set up a rotation all weekend, and every 2 hours one of us was up bottle feeding this baby. And I thought, well, I'll just call Monday. Brian, you can try the kitty treats. They're not gonna want it. They're not gonna want that instead of the, oh, I see what you're doing. He shook the box, shake the box, shake the box. That's the sound, it brings all the kitties running. But he gave them a little dish of the tuna water instead. Okay, I got you. Okay, so we're bottle feeding this baby cat. Fine. Last night, I was waiting on Bladen to get off work. He's got his first job. He's working at a fast food place. Waiting on him to get off work, and I'm walking. I walk while I'm waiting on him so I don't just sit on my butt. And I'm walking, and sure enough, I hear this little meow, meow. And I was like, no! And I went walking real fast the other direction, and I still heard it. So I went over, and sure enough, surprise, surprise, it's another abandoned kitten. This one's a few days older than the first one, so this one is actually able to eat food. And of course, the shelters are full. Would you like to be fired? Did you just break a teacup? You did. Brian just broke a teacup. All right. So we mixed all our ingredients together, right? It's a good thing I've got my great-grandparents' Havel and Limoges put away. This is, ooh, whoa. This is almost perfect. Needs one thing that I forgot to get earlier. And this is something that you can do. This is based on your choice. You have a couple things. I used to make this with stone ground mustard, which I love, and it's delicious. However, you know, we went to France back in February, and I fell so in love with Dijon mustard that it's kind of embarrassing, but not quite. I use Dijon mustard now in almost everything. Last time I made tuna salad, instead of the stone ground, I used Dijon, and it was amazing. All right, so here we go. We're gonna give this a good tablespoon and a half of Dijon mustard. Actually, you know, I still have some of the Dijon we bought in Paris. I hid it. You notice how it came to my house and not your house. I hid it, and I have been doling it out very, very slowly. Usually when it's just me and nobody else. And not sharing it. Because I've been telling myself that the kids, they wouldn't know the difference. So why waste the good stuff? I'm actually being really selfish. Okay, guys. Ugh. Perfect. Okay, guys. Number one on the list of the top things that you can do with canned tuna, tuna salad. I'm going to make Brian a sandwich. Okay, we are at dish 2 in our quest to use up the largest can of tuna in the world. Which I bought by mistake. Okay, 6 tablespoons of butter. I know that sounds like a lot, but this is for an entire casserole. So, you know what? We're doing that. This is my mother's recipe, so everybody was allowed to have all the butter they wanted in the 70s. Alright, so we have our stick of butter in here. To this, we're going to add 1/2 of a... What color onion was this? It was this morning. I can't remember. It was a yellow onion. Use a yellow or a white onion. I get yellow ones because they're cheap at the big box store. Turn that off. Brian's excited because that certain show that everybody's crazy about is now back on that one network having to do with food. I don't have cable, so he's trying to show it to me. Alright, a whole bunch of thyme. We're going to use mushrooms instead of cream and mushroom soup. We're actually making our own base for this casserole. Instead of using the condensed cream and mushroom soup, we're making our own. And so anyway, tons of fresh thyme. You want a great big handful. Don't be stingy with this stuff. There are other things you can be stingy with that will make more difference. Why is this not focusing on that thyme? There we go. Lots of fresh thyme. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to do like I did with the butter. Pop. All in all, that was about 1/2 box. And I have about 12 ounces of button mushrooms that I sliced. I think this was a 24-ounce container that I bought at the big box store. So this is a little more than half. So maybe 16. Brian's preventing Kitty from getting on the counter. She's mad at him. You know what I did? Alright, so the kitty's usually getting that window behind me. But it's been summer and it's been too hot and the air's been on. So I've kept the window closed. Right? 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. Kept the window closed so they're mad. I even had... Would you stop that over there? I even had Tony build me kitty shelf storage. Like, you know, storage for my cats. And they actually like it. Except for Taquito, who continues to try to stalk that window. She doesn't realize she's not supposed to. Okay, here we go, guys. This is everything all in. So our stick of butter, our 1/2 an onion, our 1/2 of a blister pack of thyme. So I think that's a 1/2 ounce package, so that'd be a 1/4 ounce thyme, which is not very much actually, all said and done. But you really want a nice ratio of thyme to mushrooms. And then about 12 to 14 ounces of mushrooms sliced up. I'm going to let this just sit and do its thing for about 10 minutes. I want those mushrooms to release all of their moisture and then to start taking it back up again. And then we will go forward. Okay, now we're moving in lightning fast mode because suddenly the whole schedule didn't work. Alright, 1/4 cup of flour. This has gone for about 10 minutes. Okay, 1/4 cup of flour. And because I like my sauces a little thicker than normal, about another tablespoon or 2. I'm working a little bit backwards. Now, this pan over here, I've just got water coming up to the boil so I can get our noodles ready. Alright, so this is what we look like once our flour is all worked in. Work it in at this point. That'll prevent you from getting lumps. Okay? And then 4 cups. I'm going to do a couple batches slowly so you can see. 4 cups of whole milk. I've got whole milk on this one. Like I said, we're going back to the 70s. It's like in Mindhunter when Wendy is living off white wine and tuna fish. When was that? That was 1979. Hi, Levi.
Okay.
So, we're working all of that milk in. Now, for your noodles, I grew up with egg noodles. That's what my mother used, so it's what I like. And that's what I'm gonna drop over here in my boiling water. I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons. Bladen, get out of my cheese. Out of there.
Can't stop me. Oh.
What did you just say?
Can't stop me.
It was the other part.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. We're gonna bleep you.
Can't stop me.
Alright, so we're gonna bleep Bladen.
Can't stop.
Hey, go check on those baby cats. Alright, so give it a taste. That desperately needs some salt. It also still tastes like raw flour, which is fine, it's gonna, until it comes up to a boil. And you simmer it for at least 1 minute. That's how you cook off the raw flour taste, okay? So while this is coming up to a boil, we're dropping our egg noodles over here. And I'm gonna add a good bit of salt to that water, because pasta that is done in unseasoned water never tastes right. It always is going to taste bland no matter how much you try to season it later. Okay? And we're kind of racing the clock because I got to get out of here and go pick Joey up. Okay, so this is going to come to a boil and we're setting this for 8 minutes. Boom. We're giving our sauce a stir and waiting on that to come up to a boil and thicken. And we will meet you back here. Alright, we've got just a couple minutes before our noodles are done. I am preheating our oven to 350 degrees. We're going to do a couple things right here in our pot. Now, if you're going to go straight to serve this to company, go ahead and pull out all your thyme sprigs. If you leave them in, it's not a very pleasant thing to bite into. However, if it's just your family and you don't mind, or if you lied to your children and told them they got to make a wish if they found one, go ahead and leave them in. It will continue to develop lots more flavor. All right, that was a 1.5 cups of frozen peas. We're just going to stir that in, and you notice well, you may not notice, but I do. I have the heat off because it has thickened up nicely, and any more thickening it will do will be in the oven. And then this is the equivalent of 3 cans of tuna. What size? 3 of this size cans, right? I had the giant 4-pound can, which I bought by mistake, which led me to try to think of everything I could think of to make with tuna. Okay, including Mom's Tuna Casserole. So go ahead. Now off the heat, because the peas, honestly, frozen peas really just have to warm through, right? And it will continue to cook in the oven. But this we stir together so that once we get our noodles and our casserole dishes, they'll be good to go. All right, last thing, break that up. If you got any great big chunks, break it up a little bit. Now, you could do this in one great big batch. Oh, there's our noodles. You can do it in one great big batch, or you can divide it up, which I'm about to do, into 2 smaller batches. And if you do that, you either want to butter your casserole dish. Well, it doesn't matter if you divide it up. You wanted to butter it anyway. Butter your dish or spray it with cooking oil. I don't remember my mother doing that, but it sure makes it easier to deal with and to clean up. All right, I see we've gone all blurry again. How come? Let's get clear. Thanks, guys. All right, so I'm gonna try to do this. Off, all my heat's off. Okay. So our noodles, I'm doing one bigger batch and one smaller batch. Whoop! Might be too much of a bigger batch. Redistribute our noodles a little. All right. Some of this I'm sending up with Brian for Noah. Because Noah loves seafood. Alright, so at this point, throw your tongs on the floor. There we go. See that? We're ladling right over the top. And that's all it takes. I think my mother used to mix it all together. Why am I having a hard time remembering this? I ate this all the time growing up. For some reason, it's one of the few things I'm struggling to remember how she did it. And the worst of it is, she doesn't remember how she did it either. Like, Mom, gotta remember these things for me. So I'm trying to capture as much as I can while I can. Let me grab my towel. There we go. Now, one thing I will tell you, Mom used the condensed soup because everybody did. That was the only way people thought to cook at that point. And honestly, if I seriously need some comfort food, I'm gonna grab it. However, depending on what's fresh and what's in season, with the cost of milk and mushrooms and onions, those are very inexpensive ingredients. So it's not like you need to cut the cost of this dish anymore. A few years ago, I wrote an article on this dish. Somebody had accused me of using only the best ingredients. It made me mad because I was struggling to feed the kids by myself. So I actually did a breakdown of this dish, and with the canned tuna, a decent quality canned tuna, and I buy canned tuna in water. It was less than $2 a serving, which I thought was pretty freaking good. Okay, guys, here we go. Ta-da! Here's what we look like. That's Tony behind us. It's the never-ending project of the new bathrooms. Shredded cheddar cheese. I don't know how big a piece this was. I think it was about 8 ounces. I'm not gonna go crazy with the cheese. It's got a lot of butter in it. We don't need all the additional fat. And while tuna is a nice lean protein, yes, we're covering it with all those egg noodles, right? So we kind of got to take what we can here. I'm not willing to sacrifice flavor, so I'm going to have some cheese, but I'm not going crazy with it. Okay. 350-degree oven. And our casseroles are ready to go. I'm going to pop them in for about 45 minutes or until they're bubbly all the way through and our cheese is nice and crusty, right? I'll be back. Alrighty, here we go. 45 minutes in a 350-degree oven. Joey, would you mind closing the refrigerator, please? Oh, wow.
That looks good.
Oh, that looks perfect. All right, that's kind of exciting. I love when cheese is gooey and bubbly.
That's cheese.
Oh yeah. All right, so here we go. Perfect, bubbly, and gooey. We're gonna give this about 5 minutes to rest. Then we're eating it. All right, so theoretically we're gonna let it rest, but in actuality we're gonna go ahead and get some because, as usual, the kids are starving. Do we notice a theme here at my house? I will say, just goes to show that I cook for y'all what I actually cook for them. All right, so let's see. Let's scoot over here just a little bit. I don't know if that improved anything. This is pretty much, ooh, you get that? I'm dropping it. The best tuna casserole you'll ever eat, y'all. I mean, everything you could want in a comfort food, because you've got the rich, you've got the creamy, you've got the decadent, and cheesy. It's got everything. right? Oh yeah. So it doesn't get a whole lot better than that. And you notice, for us to make our own homemade mushroom sauce, it didn't take a whole lot of time, effort, or money. So give it a try. Pretty impressed with how that works out. All right, I want a little bite of everything. And a noodle. That right there, that's what tuna casserole should be. Tell you what. Yep. Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. And if you thought that video was helpful, do me a huge favor. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get a notification whenever I post a new video. And if you have a second, hop on over to Patreon and check out how to support my channel even more. Again, thanks for watching.